Your child's mental health is more important than their grades. You know what? Parents are children's first role model. In that case, I don't understand why parents expect their tiny tots to go by this checklisted lifestyle. It's obviously true that parents give birth to a child with all their love, care, affection, compassion, and dreams. But the bitter truth is that before the child is even born, they are forced and expected to become the best engineers, doctors, scientists, lawyers, and especially government servants. A child is driven by hyper-competition and perfectionism. Now, what if I tell the real meaning of success is when a child has high status, performance, and particularly good and fair-looking appearance? Do you all agree with me? If you agree, then you can raise your hands. Yes? So for those who don't, then I have to tell you that what I just mentioned above is the reality. According to WHO, which is World Health Organization, children between the age group of 13 and 15 years in India are depressed. Now, what does this word depress mean? Is it something as simple as sad or upset? Well, I wouldn't agree with that. That's not the real and accurate meaning of it. It's something like mentally unstable, or you can also take it like emotional trauma. Children are experiencing an unpleasant period during that time. Now, parents, do you all know what happens when you force your children apart from depression? Well, if you don't, then you'll hear a lot from me now. Don't be scared. Just relax. It causes increased fear, guilt, self-blame. They lose all their confidence. They become anxious about things. And most importantly, they face some difficulties in being normal like others. So to make this session more interesting, let me tell you one clip that happened when I was in grade 1. So that particular day, I was preparing for a slip test. I'm so sorry, I'm not able to recall what subject was that. But once I was done with it, my mom told me, "Ami, write without seeing." And immediately I looked upon my mom and asked her, "How can I write by closing my eyes, Mom?" You know what my mom actually meant here is that I should write without copying. But at that tender age, I had a different perception. Another incident that happened in my neighborhood is similar to this. It's something like a casual conversation between a dad and a son. So the dad asked his son, "Why did you score such low grades in that previous exam?" And the son was so cool and he replied, "Absence." His reply was just absence. The dad was puzzled and he further inquired, "Were you absent on the day of the exam?" And the son replied, "No, Papa, but the boy who sits next to me was." So this shows how kids are smart, naive, and naughty too. Coming to my life experience, to be very frank, I have a few checklists assigned by my parents, but I feel that kind of lists are quite required in our life. For instance, do's and don'ts as a teenager, career guidance, and good pathways. So one incident that I would love to share with you all today is about my brother. I have an elder brother. I'm so lucky. So my mother wanted my brother to pursue a professional course. But unfortunately, he wasn't interested in that field. Rather, his inclination was towards accountancy and commerce. So guess what my mother would have done? Do you think she would have forced him apart from his interest, or just motivated him to succeed in his path? Well, you won't believe it was too hard for me as well. She gave upon her dream and encouraged him to pursue his dream. Another favor by my parents is that they accepted my study schedule. So it's time to brief a little about myself, not to bore anyone, only a little. So I'm good at music. I sing songs, play guitar and keyboard as well. So when my exams are going on, I wouldn't stop music for that sake. You know, to be honest with you all, I would hardly study for an hour. And after that time period, I began to lose my grip to stay focused on my studies. So I would spend a little amount of my time in music, and this way I managed my exam stress. I would also make sure that my performance in exams would have not been good if my parents denied me of my study schedule. So, coming to the talk idea, what do you think this checklist would look like? Well, I'll brief you on that. Waking up early in the morning, getting ready for school, eating breakfast, come back from school, study for about 6 to 7 hours minimum. You know, I wanted to stress that word minimum and not maximum with that child's utmost focus, concentration, no distraction, and as everybody says, 8 hours of sleep for a healthy life. Go to bed early. And this routine reiterates. Now just answer me this question. I'm so doubtful sometimes. Are we all humans or human-made robots? Children will get frustrated and be fed up to live this kind of robotic or systematic life. Life is such a beautiful journey where children learn good as well as bad things. Now parents, what do you think you can keep checklists on? Probably on usage of internet and maybe also parental control over social media. Now when I talk about the subject social media, it's too vast. So for a few examples, I would tell Instagram, where teenagers do reels. Snapchat, to make yourself more beautiful. You know, the beauty that God gave is not enough to anyone. WhatsApp, to send instant messages and have a FaceTime call. Now coming back, I would tell a few ways that will really help parents liberate their children. And before that, I'm so sorry, I forgot about this tale. So recently I read an article where not even a teenager, but a 5-year-old boy, he underwent so much stress due to this checklisted lifestyle assigned by his parents. It's horrible for a young boy who completely rely and trust his parents than anyone else in this world to have faced that. It's miserable. Rather than, allotting checklists for your children, further involvement in all their activities is most needed. Now, do you all know how to bring a smile on a child's face, just like how I have a smile on my face now? Well, I'll tell you a way. Just go sit beside them and hold their hands. This is my secret. You know, that moment, you will definitely realize the true feeling of being a parent. Moving on to the second one, it deals with analyzing your child's interests. Now, you can do this with a help of a cup of coffee. Take a sip of it, and after a deep breath, sit beside them and ask them what they like. Ask them how big they think the world is. Ask them what they wanted to become in the future. You know, that second, your child's best friend will be you, none other than anyone else in this world, and I can assure you that. That kid will become more curious, transparent, and happy to share things with you. Moving on to the last and the final tip, it deals with making your child realize what reality is. Now, what comes to your mind when you hear the word reality? Is it something like experience, knowledge, competitive world, luxurious, and a lot more? Well, I guess a few would have got what my secret is. It's time to reveal, no more longing. So, you just have to make your child realize how hard it is to survive in this world without job, education, and money. Make them realize the worth of their life. Ask them to study for themselves and not for the sake of your compulsion. Just remember this, the way you want to be treated by people lies in your hands. Make them understand the essence of hard work, dedication, determination, and sacrifice. Now, I'll tell you a trick that is very useful in replacing this checklist, the Pareto Principle. Now, don't just stress yourself thinking about it too much. Is she going to invent laws of motion? No, I'm not. I'm here to simplify things. So, the Pareto Principle is basically called as the 80-by-20 rule. So, it states that 80% of the outcomes come from 20% of the causes. If suppose you have 10 things that you wanted to accomplish in a day, identify the most important one and complete it first. Now, what parents can do to the late blooming children is that prepare a to-do list. Now, it doesn't mean you have to write for pages, just 5 or 10 things would do. Analyze what is most crucial and significant for your child and help them complete that first. In this way, the 80-by-20 rule helps children understand things better. And to make it more interesting, I have to tell you that this Pareto Principle has been successful in Italy as well. The last and the final question to all the parents out there. What if we children allowed checklists for y'all? That's weird, right? For instance, a checklist of mine would look like my mom should be a housewife taking care of me and my brother. This is because when my mom is on vacation, she pays extra care to both of us. But on the other hand, when she is at work, she pays more attention to her job as she has her own responsibilities to be accomplished. Moving on to my dad, he shouldn't attend any phone calls related to his office or business in the evening. Just imagine how this would look like. Is it even possible for us to keep checklists like this for y'all? And even if we do so, then running a family would be quite difficult. Parents, I can understand that you want your child to be successful in the very first attempt. But please, give us some time. Not all children are same. A few might be late bloomers. You just have to give them some personal space to fulfill your expectations. We love you so much, parents. We expect the same love and care from you all. Thank you.